Hi guys, this is Frenchy and today we're gonna undust a job that I've done during my first year of color grading. So I am ready to ruin all my street cred here on YouTube. Because also I think it's good for you guys to see where I was coming from, because when you are a beginner, sometimes you are alone and you don't have any other people to compare yourself with instead of the top colorist. And this is hard because you feel that you are going way slower than everybody on Instagram. But trust me, it takes time to get some skills. And also, you know, like this is why you are watching my YouTube videos. I want you to avoid all the mistakes I've made when I was a beginner. Before we start with the tutorial, I'm giving you a lot for free. You just need to click the link in the description. This slot is for DaVinci White Gamut color space, so you need to put it in between color space transform from your camera log to DaVinci White Gamut and DaVinci White Gamut to Rec 709. Or you can just use DaVinci YRGB Color Manage in DaVinci White Gamut and put your lot. Enough talking, let's go to the tutorial. Hey guys, so I just opened my project and I'm surprised. It's been a long time I haven't seen this project, and it's been a long time I haven't opened a very old project of mine just to see what happened, just to reflect and be like, oh, I progressed actually. At first glance, I can already tell that is great because I'm not at all tackling the image the same way now. And I'm doing this video in the objective to make you feel a bit better when you are a beginner in color grading, because every expert that you see on YouTube, on Instagram, all the great skills that are posted and etc., people started somewhere. So you have to keep in mind that if you want to be an expert, you need to make mistakes first. And for sure, compared to what I was at the beginning, it's really night and day, but you need to trust the process. I just want to show you guys one of my first ever job that I had as a colorist, and just to show you that you can do it too. I show you this because I think that you can become a colorist. Even if you don't have all the answers, you can always find solutions. And I've done this job. I didn't have that much knowledge, but I know that my client was satisfied. And for me at that time, that was the most important. I'm just gonna show you now in my point of view as a colorist, also to have a good laugh together, ruin my street credibility here on YouTube just for you guys. And we're gonna go to the color grading page just to see what's happening. Okay, so oh my god, so already you can see that I delivered the grade just with 4 notes. This is, you know, the real raw talent. Not note shaming, not at all. I'm laughing not because of the number of the note, but because of the order of the note. So first, before we are tackling on the adjustments, I just want to see where I am in terms of color management. So you can see that I am in a timeline color space of Rec 709 Gamma 2.4, output color space same as timeline. I have some things to say about this. So timeline color space in Rec 709 Gamma 2.4 is not really recommended because technically the Rec 709 Gamma 2.4 is more for an output color space, in the sense of like this is a display refer color space. So technically, if you are putting this as your timeline color space, you're going to be very limited in terms of color grading possibilities within your nodes. And also, I see something that really bothered me, which is the output color space as same as timeline. I hate putting same as timeline or use timeline in DaVinci Resolve, just because I am a bit scared of the automation inside DaVinci Resolve. I'm sure everything is fine 90% of the time or 95% of the time. It's just that the 5% chance that DaVinci Resolve is mistaken and then do a complete opposite output color space of what I intended. I don't like it, so that's why I always put my output color space, because I know where it's gonna be delivered. So to solve the problem of the timeline color space Rec 709 Gamma 2.4, at that time when I was color grading this, DaVinci White Gamut was not existing. It was not out yet. So I could have put my timeline color space in Rec 709 Scene. That would have been better. Just like because Rec 709 Scene is not having the metadata of a gamma curve implied. So this is better, because you're going to have a bigger and broader possibilities of colors in your timeline. But now with my experience, I would go for a camera log as a timeline color space. So here it was a shot with Blackmagic Raw. So I would choose the gen color space that the film was shot on. So this one was a Blackmagic Pocket 6K Film Gen 4. So I would have used this, and output color space Rec 709 Gamma 2.4. Now that we have tackled the color management, which is a big thing actually, let's see what's happening in the grade. So I've put a LUT for the look, and this LUT is a LUT from the LUT pack that the DP gave me. You can see that actually this is a technical LUT, because this is putting the gamma curve from the Blackmagic camera to Rec 709 color space. Why I'm cringing? Because I see what I've done, and this is a mistake that you can do when you are beginning. I put the LUT at 30% opacity, and this is something that you shouldn't do for a technical LUT. So technical LUTs are LUTs that will bring your footage from a log state to a display refer state. So that means that, for example, if you have a camera log and you want to convert it to Rec 709, there could be LUTs that would convert the camera log to Rec 709, for example. So this one was a LUT that was created to bring the log to the Rec 709 Gamma 2.4. Here we have a problem, is that I reduce the opacity, which then I reduce the whole mapping of my footage. Why I did this? It's because there's some LUTs where you can reduce the opacity, and these LUTs are the creative LUTs. So this is LUTs that are only used for looks, and that won't apply a mapping of the gamma curve inside their data. So I was at this opacity setting, okay? And what I've done is that I've done my balance after normally my mapping, which is some lift, some gamma, and some gain. It's okay. It's okay. It's just not the best thing to do, because we take in consideration what you have done before in your mapping, and so you will have less possibilities to adjust your image, because you already have to fight the contrast that has been done before. So this is why I prefer to do my adjustments at the beginning of my node tree. And then the final straw that is breaking the camel's back. Oh my god. You have a vignette, and a vignette is very good now. But you have a vignette that appear at the beginning of the node tree. So I don't know why I have done this, but this vignette actually is an effect. It's an effect to recreate, the old lenses that would create dark corners and having the center that is a bit more lit to have a better focus on the character. But because it's an effect, I suppose that I would like that this effect take in consideration all the gray that I have done for it. So that means that if I apply a vignette, I want that my balance, my colors, and my look be taken in consideration to have a perfect vignette, right? So that's why it doesn't make sense to put it at the beginning. So I don't know why I've done this, and it's not because I was a creative genius. Honestly, it's just because I didn't know what I was doing. Also, I wanted to show you one shot. I remember that I really struggled on this shot, And you can see that I key the skin. So in my story, guys, before I was keying the skin. Yeah, unbelievable. Throw me the stone. My qualification is not that great. I have so much noise that is happening. And so I think I'm introducing more noise than I'm helping the image. And it's just to bring her up, actually, to just make her a tiny bit more bright. All these mistakes brought me to where I am today. So what I want to do is that I want to copy the timeline, just keep the frames that we want to apply a new look on it. So now I have a clean slate. I'm just gonna have a bit more real estate for us to see, okay? And first thing first, I'm just gonna change my color management. So what I want to do is going to a DaVinci White Gamut Intermediate and finish with a Rec 709 Gamma 2.4. For DaVinci White Gamut, if you don't know how to use DaVinci White Gamut, I've done a video about this. You can check the video. But DaVinci White Gamut, in a node-based level, you need to create 2 nodes and do your grade in between, because you are going from your camera log to DaVinci White Gamut and DaVinci White Gamut to Rec 709 Gamma 2.4. Why you want to do your grade in between the 2 nodes is just because you're gonna reap the most benefit possible for your grade there, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create an in and we're gonna create an out. And we're just gonna go to our effect, type color space, transform. Input color space, this one is Gen 4 Pocket 6K. So I would just go to Pocket 4K Gen 4 and Pocket 6K Film Gen 4. Okay. DaVinci White Gamut has an output color space. Okay. I'm just gonna copy and paste up. I'm gonna swap. Sorry, I'm gonna put out. This one, the in should be in none for the tone mapping, and the out should stay in DaVinci. And here, what I want to do is that I want to put Rec 709 Gamma 2.4. Okay, now that this is done and my colors are mapped, I'm quite happy. I can create a node after my in, and that's going to be my balance. So we're going to start with the balance. What I like to do is create a parallel node. You're going to see why, but I like to have my primaries here at the top, my secondaries here at the bottom, just because it's easier for me to manipulate my colors, but at the same time, I like to have a visual representation of the separation of the primaries and the secondaries. Okay, so balance. Because at that time I didn't have HDR wheels, I can go to my waveform. So for the balance, what I like to do is going to HDR and raise my global. And what we can do is that we can go to our lift and just like go down a tiny bit with our lift. What I like to do with my lift is that I always use just like the luminance channel in my YRGB, because I like that it doesn't affect my red, green and blue, just the luminance. Okay, so now that this is done, what I want to do is that I want to create maybe some contrast. So now I'm going to add contrast, and I want more contrast just like to make the image a bit more punchier. And what we can do is that we can change the value of the pivot to 0.336, which is the middle gray of DaVinci White Gamut. So here when I move my contrast will move in a very natural way for my footage. Okay, so now that I have it a bit more punchier, I can go to my secondaries here, and I'm going to create a node where I'm going to do a split tone. So to do a split tone, we're just going to unlink all the channels in our curve. I'm going to go to my red, and I'm going to create a point that is in the second square of our curve, okay? And so I'm just going to create another point for red, and I'm just going to decrease my red. And you can see that it will add more cyan to my shadows, okay? So if I go really intense. It's really intense cyan, okay? So I just want a tad, just a tiny bit. Maybe I will balance it with some green to have it a bit more greenish, like this. And I think it's pretty nice because I like that it gives a bigger contrast between the face and the hair, for example. Okay, so now that we have done this, we can go to our color wrapper. We put our hue resolution to 16. And so here my skin is sitting in the orange spectrum. So I can go to my vector scope to see what's going on. And if I follow the skin tone line, you see that I need to make her a tiny bit more yellow, but I think it doesn't work in this image. So what I'm going to do is that I want her to be a tiny bit more pinkish. And I think it's pretty nice because it takes also the shirt, and the shirt is a tiny bit more saturated, which I like. After, we're going to do some density. And this density will be targeted a bit more on her background. So then like we can have a real separation between her and the background. Okay, so for this, I can go to the cyan and play with the cyan with the subtractive saturation. You can see that it takes the hair plus the background. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to take the blue instead, and I'm going to bring the blue because it will help me to bring the cyan that I have, but also the purple that you can see. Okay, so this is quite nice. I like it. So what I'm worried about is that if I send the grade, the client will tell me that she looks too dark. And to remove this feeling of her being too dark in the frame, what I'm going to do is create a node before my out. And this is going to be face light. I'm going to create a power window over her like this that would just follow the shape of her face. I will go to my HDR wheels, and what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just bring up the face like this with global. And you can see that's pretty huge. I like it because then it's really natural, and you know we don't notice what's happening. What I can do is that I can just track. And also what I notice is that there is a lot of noise, maybe because the capture didn't have enough light. We can create a node that will be after our in, and we're gonna go to our motion effects, go to our spatial NR. I can go to ultra noise reduction, just like because I like it. I think it's fine. And analyze, and so then I have a cleaner image. You can do ultra noise reduction if, for example, your GPU and your CPU can permit it, because I know that this is really heavy in terms of GPU. And of course, because I've done a vignette in my grade when I was a beginner, so I'm just going to do a window for her, a vignette. Just going to raise her a tiny bit more for her to pop out. And we're going to add a node outside, and we're just gonna go down so we have something that is a bit more, how you call that, this is a bit more focused. So this is before, this is after, and here you go. So this is what we have. It's pretty nice. I like it. Let's just apply what we have done to this shot, and already it's pretty cool. I really love it. I think the face light, we don't really need it, or we need it a bit less than what we have done. So then we still have a nice contrast that is happening. For the contrast, I would say that I would actually raise a tiny bit. I would say maybe we can raise a tiny bit the contrast, just like because this one is very contrasty compare to this. So I'm just gonna raise the contrast just to match what I have done here. Okay, and so for the skin, maybe we can find a way to bring her face shade to just kill a tiny bit the blue on her face. So what I can do in my face light node, I can go to my blues and I can just decrease my blues in my color slice tool, and I will go to my color wrapper. I will go to my blues over here and I will maybe go to something a tiny bit warmer, you know, but just like to decrease the blues that there was on her face. It's only that, just to clean up a tiny bit to have a better skin at the end of the day. Okay? I think this is fine. Maybe if we put a tiny bit of warmth, that would be great for this shot. Yeah, okay, so this is what we had before. So this was my original grade for this piece. You can see that we went a long way. So this is the grade that I would have delivered nowadays, now that I'm a bit more experienced. So before, you can see that because I didn't apply well the LUT that was supposed to map the camera log plus also apply a beginning of a look, then I've lost all the colors and everything looks gray. But here, because I'm not really scared of pushing up the colors, and because I know how to handle the colors, then I was able to just have the colors working in my advantage. You can see that, for example, also if you are mapping your image well, you don't have to do a lot of adjustments. You don't have to struggle that much to have a beautiful image out of the bat. It's the same for this one. I was very scared to push up the colors, and because I didn't map well my shot, I already got a disadvantage. That's why also it's very pale. Also, something to notice that there is a lot of noise that is introduced because of the qualifier, which is not great, because then of course it's a very fast shot and the client didn't notice. It's good practice to always just check if you are breaking the image or if you are creating noise, just for you to avoid in the future. We have done a grade where actually we could take advantage of all the colors that was happening in the frame, and we could make her getting a bit more boost in terms of colors. So I think this is pretty cool. So that is all for me, guys. The fact that I was not daring to make adjustments and I was very terrified to play with colors, it shows you that my beginner journey and also my whole journey was always learning and learning and learning. And I find that when you are on social media, when you are on YouTube, the problem is that you see so many amazing people that you are always comparing yourself to them, and you think that they became overnight experts. It's not true. They have years and years and years of practice behind them, and they were starting the same way as you started. So I hope it helped, guys, and I hope you laughed a lot when you saw my grades that I was doing at the beginning. I like to laugh about it because it just shows you how much I have grown and that you can grow too. And so yeah, I hope it helped. Subscribe to the channel if you want more color grading tips, and I see you next time, guys. See you.